The Plotcast Podcast with the Potty Plotters.
Hello and welcome back to the Potty Plotters Plotcast Podcast. This is Season 2, Episode 30, and I'm Julia.
And I'm Elaine.
Hello, Elaine.
That sounded very BBC-like, didn't it?
Hello.
Hello, wasn't it? Hello.
British Pathé, hello.
Was it my telephone voice?
It was actually.
You don't answer the phone to me like that.
No.
Isn't it funny that when we had landlines, you answered the phone different to now when you're on the mobiles?
Yeah, because you know who it is now.
Yeah, you do.
It could have been somebody really important when we had proper landlines and we all used them. Now it's just British Gas asking you if you want to change your heating supplier when you're not even with them anyway.
No, that's the
I
one.
like having a telephone voice.
Well, you carry on with it. See how long
Double
it
two,
lasts.
double three, double four.
Anyway, Elaine.
Yes.
We've got an episode to do, haven't we?
What, this you mean?
This talking.
This is what we're here for, indeed.
So, anyway, we've got to do a shout-out, haven't we?
Yes, Gareth.
A shout out?
Yeah.
Have I got to do a shout out?
That thingy.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean
Instagram thingy
that's not a
box.
shout out. That's me telling people how to get in touch.
Just get in touch, Julia.
Oh, right.
Yes,
Gareth, how do people get in touch?
So, if you'd like to get in touch with any questions, you can get in touch via the social media channels. That's Facebook, Instagram, and X accounts at Potty Plotters. I see. I'll put my phone
that was
voice
nice,
on there as
that
well.
was, Gareth.
I'll put the normal one back on there.
all right then.
We're on TikTok at The Potty Plotters. Email naughtycorner at pottyplotters.uk, or you can check out the website pottyplotters.uk.
That was very nice. And yes, we are going to do a bit of a shout-out. You
Actually,
were right, Julia.
can I do something else quickly whilst I remember?
Here we go.
And because you haven't scripted this, so I have to keep looking at what it is.
Oh.
So if you would like to support us to keep us going,
Did you notice how he's actually been able to use all that equipment and his phone
Yeah.
and everything all at the same time?
Quite unusual, isn't it?
well, for a man.
I never said that. I
You're
was talking
hinting
about
at
all the technology. That's what I was talking about.
So if you'd like to support the podcast to keep us going, then you can leave us a tip at kofi.com/thepottyplotters. That's ko-fi.com/thepottyplotters. I'm just going to show you this because this is an email I've had from Kofi. And look at what it is at the top. No, look at the picture there.
The picture, it's
Yeah.
a heart.
No,
it's a heart in a cup.
Yeah, look, a coffee cup. Kofi.
Nice.
Yeah, you see. So if you do that and leave us a tip, I'll give you a bit of a shout out.
That's lovely. And you've kind of downgraded it since you started because you said we'll love you forever and give you hugs and all this and kisses.
But what we've discovered is it's very difficult to give people hugs and kisses when they're not in the same vicinity. And
Yeah, but we're
I don't
thinking
travel.
it, aren't we?
And we're
And it's
thinking
the
it.
thought that counts,
It is,
Gareth.
and I'm not prepared to travel that far now.
Okay.
The Plotcast Podcast with the Potty Plotters.
We're going to do a shout out to Susie Barron on Instagram.
Yeah.
And she's commented how much she is enjoying the Plotcast, which she only found last week.
Oh, she's got hundreds of episodes to go at. Well, not hundreds.
God, she's going to be busy.
Oh gosh, she's going to be demented.
Well, just imagine. Just imagine if she discovered us when we had that really poor weather.
Yeah. Anyway, she's just taken an allotment on. She's never had one before, but she's enjoying growing her own veg in her own back garden. Now, this is the current state of it. She sent us a picture.
She has.
My question is, would a weed burner be beneficial for me to use before digging? What would your advice be?
See, I have a very, very similar question because you remember at our place we had all that bamboo.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's no longer. There's bits of it still there because we've used some industrial strength weed killer, but the other half, every time we walked around a garden centre, kept looking longingly at the weed burners. I was like, probably not with bamboo because you might cause
Big fire.
Yeah.
a towering inferno.
Yes, well, you are really adjacent to a wooden fence and you have got a big wooden summer house.
Yeah.
So we didn't.
No,
No.
that's
But-
probably a good move, actually.
But would it work for Susie?
Well, I think it would.
Oh, how funny. And actually, I have whipped out my weed burner recently, haven't
You
I,
have,
Elaine?
yeah.
Because one of the things I really struggle with is quite a bit of paving and old crazy paving on my allotments, as well as my own paths that I've made from wood chip. And the weeds that get in there, especially the perennials, I can't get them out very easily. And of course you can keep hoeing them, but actually I thought, no, this needs something more serious. And we've got a weed wand at home and I love it. You get
Weed busters.
weed run, you go round and you blast it with some fire and it knocks everything back.
Well, I'm going to tell you a little story that that I know I've mentioned to you before, Julia, but my dad used to have one.
Oh, yes.
And as kids, he used to set it. It was full of paraffin, if my memory serves me right. Yeah, it had got a canister thing.
Yeah, I think they do.
On
It's
the
like
back, and he used
butane
to
or
fill it
paraffin,
up.
isn't it?
Yeah. And then he used to set it alight, and that was our Saturday morning job.
And he gave you this
time
as
of
a
year.
kid. How old were you?
Yeah, it was entertainment.
Health and safety wasn't a thing in those days.
No. But we're still here, all of us,
exactly.
to tell the
You learned
story.
it,
So
yeah.
it worked, didn't it?
Yeah.
He showed us what to do, and we used to go along, and we used to burn the weeds on the allotment in rows. Now, why I'm saying this is because I think it would work for Susie. The size of her allotment, which is a new allotment to her, is huge.
Yeah.
And what she's done is she's covered it all.
Yeah.
With what looks like some membrane of some sort, and held it all down. But what I would do is carefully peel back a few feet at a time, burn off all the weeds, and then I would dig them up, because if you don't dig them up, the roots are still there and they will come back. So I thought it was a great idea, and it means that it's much easier to handle when you're taking out great big clods of blooming weeds like we do.
Yeah.
You haven't got bags and bags of them to get rid of.
Yeah, and also if the weeds are in seed or anything, of course, the moment you start digging them and disturbing them, you're casting them aside everywhere. So actually, if you go round them first and burn it all off, they're less likely to spread. And like you say, it makes it much easier to handle. But I do love mine, but one word of warning, just be a little bit cautious. If you've had a lot of dry weather, you don't go too close to other dry materials, because I have been known to just stamp out a small fire.
You're a fire starter, a twisted fire
Occasionally.
starter.
I mean, there is something very satisfying about doing it, and it does save a lot of backbending in terms of getting the weeds out.
Yeah,
but
it's a really good idea though, Susie.
Yeah.
And I will say, having seen the photograph, the view from that allotment is bar none. It's absolutely stunning.
Do we know where Susie is?
I do, yes.
Wow.
What a lovely... And I've not even asked him to say that, have I? Yeah, she actually is in Queensbury, which is in West Yorkshire. And why do I know that, Gareth? Because my nephew lives there, and it's the nephew, William, who wrote our twiddly bit for our podcast.
The twiddly bit? You mean the music?
Yeah.
The musical interludes?
That's the one, yes. So there you go. What a small world we live in. Just thought I'd tell you that. Anyway.
So are you going up to visit him soon?
Well, I've said that when I do, I'm going to pop along and see how Susie's going on. It's sort of more of a threat than an invite, you've got to invite
Well, who
yourself.
for? William or Susie?
Both of them, I think.
Stand by.
Yeah.
Close the gates.
So there you go. That's it. I haven't got anything else to say on that.
Okay, well, so we're both in favour of the weed wanding.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Okay. And if you don't want to go down the weed wand route, but if you've got kind of...
The weed wand route.
You almost didn't say that,
The
did
weed
you?
wand route. If you don't want to go down that
It's
route...
dead hard to say, isn't it?
Weed wand.
Woot, you say it, will you, Gareth?
Weed wand.
If you don't want to go down that route, but you've got weeds coming up, annoying weeds coming up in your driveway or something, instead of using chemicals, just pour boiling water on them and it kills them. Did you know that?
Tell a hell of a lot of blooming electricity, don't you, Julia? Depends on how big your drive is.
Yeah, I suppose so.
How big your kettle is? You're going to get your tea out now. Just go along, just pour it there.
My kettle's never off, so, anything
true.
that's left in there just gets poured on the weeds.
You're full of advice, aren't you?
Hints and tips for shortcuts to success. The Potty Plotters Plotcast.
Well, today, Julia, we are going to be talking to somebody who actually we've physically never met before,
No.
but feel that I know her.
Oh.
Yeah, honestly, you'll like her.
Okay, well, you've been telling me about this, but I am really intrigued because Deborah's going to tell us about a competition, isn't she?
Yeah, and you know that we are competitive. So this is Deborah, and we'd like to say hello to her, obviously. And Deborah is the CEO, that's very posh in other language, Julia, of the Green Allotments.
Hello, Deborah.
Hiya, how are you doing?
Well, we feel that. Should we curtsy or something?
Yeah, CEO.
something. Yeah,
That
Oh,
sounds-
not at all.
Now, Deborah, what is this all about? There's a competition to win an allotment.
Yeah, Green Allotments have launched a competition with a really unusual prize, which is the opportunity to win 2 new allotment sites.
Whole sites, not plots.
Not plots, whole sites, yeah.
Gracious. Can it be anywhere, by the way?
Anywhere in England or Wales.
Okay, and can it be any size of site, or is there limits?
Yeah, we tend to prefer up to about 3 to 5 acres because we don't want to create what we would call mega sites.
Okay.
So something that can take about 50 plot holders, if you picture that in your mind.
Yes,
Okay.
definitely.
And the other question is it just a piece of land that people are going to be entering the competition for, or is it an actual site that already exists?
It's going to be a piece of land that people have spotted in their local area and they've thought, oh, we could put allotments on there. So it's not an existing site, it's going to be a new site that's created by us with the people who win the competition.
That's amazing. And so then, if it is then pretend me and Julia have seen this piece of land, what do we do once we've found it? We've decided we want to enter this into our competition, we want to win. Tell us what we need to do, Deborah.
Yeah, you need to get in touch with us at greenallotment.org.uk and tell us about the piece of land that you've found, and tell us about yourselves as well, because we're really interested to hear about the people who want to set up the allotments. And we will help you to form a group so that you can apply as a group to run the site with us.
And is there a closure date on this?
Yeah, there's loads of time actually. We've deliberately set it at the 30th of November 2024 this year to give people plenty of time to have a think about it, start looking for some land, look around, peer over fences and through hedges, and then fill in the form and send it all into us.
The question
So,
that
yeah,
I've got,
it's
though,
a good 3 months.
But why do you want to do this? I mean, most people are on holiday and they're thinking about holiday, then they start to think about Christmas. But why do you want to do this for people?
Yeah, we're a charity, so we're not for profit, and our mission is to create new private allotment sites. This is because we've realised that waiting lists for allotments are sky high, council rents are rising all of the time, and for many people an allotment, it's just years away, and quite often it's out of their price range. People haven't got a lot in their pockets.
Yeah.
So we are creating new allotment sites in areas where people actually want allotment.
So if, say, we found the land, we've applied for the money, and you've agreed that you will buy the land for us, how will that work moving forwards? What happens? What's your involvement in it moving forwards?
Yeah, moving forwards, what we'll do is award the prize, and we'll get our little legal team to draw up some paperwork, which is called a lease. And we're quite different to how councils would do it, because what councils do is they charge allotment associations what's called land rent. So, the Allotment Association does all this voluntary work and it gets all the rents in from the plot holders and it keeps the place going.
Yeah.
But then they have to give a lot of that money to the council.
Okay.
So it's like, scratch your head time. Oh, did we do all of that for nothing? And we do it differently. So we say, we only want to exchange a peppercorn with you. It's called a peppercorn rent.
Yeah.
We don't actually want money from you. And you will be able to retain the rent that you get from the plot holders for the good of the allotment site. So we're very different in the way that we work compared to councils. And then going forward, we will work with the group of people who've won the site. We'll train them up. We'll mentor. We'll do training with them, training courses. We'll do site visits with them so that they're happy with the allotment site and that we're happy with the allotment site. And I should say as well, the best thing about our sites is we're really into biodiversity.
Yeah.
So we want people who aren't interested in chucking loads of chemicals around. We would like to hear from people who want to see those hedgehogs, want to see the frogs hopping around to eat the slugs, lots of flowers, lots of healthy fresh veg. So that's the way we work, yeah.
And long term though, Deborah, how will this be funded? Is it, if it is that then you buy it, then I'm presuming that it's self-funding from what you've said.
Yeah, that's right. Once we've bought the land, it's protected.
Yeah.
And we'll go on to buy other land as well. But the sites that people win in this competition, they're protected forever, unlike council sites, which can get built on if the council decides to sell the land. We won't actually sell that land, we'll keep it as allotments, and that's what really drives us. We do see allotments being lost to development. We see some private landowners selling their allotment sites because they want to build houses and get all of the money. We're not like that. We're not in it for profit, we're in it for allotments, because we've all had allotments for years. We've been involved in allotment associations and helping to regenerate allotment sites, and we think it's heartbreaking when there's a thriving site and all of a sudden it has to go. So we want to keep them there for perpetuity.
So if you're setting up like a peppercorn rent and you're setting up a lease, is it like a long-term lease that you are giving people who are setting up the association? Because like if we've applied for, say, funding for the National Lottery or something, we have to prove that we have a lease for so long to be able to obtain any extra funding from them. So is there a guaranteed kind of length of the lease or anything like that?
Absolutely, yeah. We're going to give a 30-year peppercorn lease.
Give a round of applause.
We share your experiences here, girls. Yeah, we've seen many allotment associations really struggle to get funding because they've got a really short lease.
Yeah.
So we're going to give 30 years, and it's our intention to renew after 30 years. Yeah,
that's incredible.
Really, the 30 years is just a little legal quirk that we need to put in.
That's really incredible. How and why are you funding this? I know you're saying that there's kind of, a shortage of allotment sites.
And a love of allotments.
And a love of I can't even speak. But how and why are you funding it? I find it absolutely fantastic that you are, but it's just a kind of curious thing to... I don't know.
I've never heard of anything like it. Ever.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Oh, I think so, yeah. Get the application in.
Yeah, it's really new, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a very new way of looking at things. And I've worked in allotments for over 20 years nationally. And I was so excited when I heard about this. The whole initiative's come from private donors who've noticed that, we need more allotments. You can't really miss it. We've just had National Allotment Week. Lots of people are saying, demand is high. We want more allotments, but we just need a bit of give, don't we? Nobody's actually doing it, know, and we're very much grounded in that idea that allotments should be about social cooperation, not profit. So this is why we're doing it this way. We're not going to turn a profit off it. All of the funds that we receive from private donors go into creating new allotment sites.
That's wonderful. I want to shake the hands of all these wonderful people who want to give money to set up allotments.
I want to be part of it.
You just want our own allotments.
Well, me, I wanted to minister for allotments, actually, Deborah, and I wasn't asked to do it, so I am willing instead to pop along and help where I can in your adventures, because it sounds so exciting. Better than the dandy and the beano, I'd say.
Definitely. So, Deborah, when people have won the land and they set it up, you're going to help them kind of mark out the plots. Are you going to provide them with anything else other than marking out the plots? Is there anything going on the plots, or any sheds or anything exciting? Greenhouses even?
Yeah, we'll make sure that people get a safe, workable allotment site for sure. We'll take care of security, we'll make sure there are gates and paths and the plots are there as well. And also we'll look at water supply, things like that. Of course, we do encourage water harvesting, and that's something we're quite strong on, and I know you girls are too. The days of just turning on a tap are over, and many councils are getting huge water bills now, and they're really scratching their heads about that. So we're looking at all of the site facilities and make sure that people get a usable allotment site that they want to garden on, and that's handy for them as well, so they're not having to drive miles and miles to get there. Everybody doesn't have a car,
It's brilliant.
So, Deborah, remind us how people actually can enter this competition, and also, are you looking for individuals, or is it particularly groups, and is it a long, complicated form that they've got to fill in?
Okay, lots of good questions there. Thank you.
I think it's because Julia's feeling the urge to suddenly go up north.
Yes.
Well, I can't wait for our first 2 sites to open, because you ladies can come down and have a mooch around, I think.
That's
for
nothing
sure.
better.
Very, very welcome. Yeah, very welcome. Yeah. So a reminder of how people can read more about it and how to apply. So the website is www.greenallotments.org.uk. And the first thing you'll see when you get there is a click to the competition details. And on there, there's the application form as well. And the application form isn't too complicated. There isn't any maths on it or anything like that. We just ask you to tell us about the land and why you're interested. So we're really keen to hear from groups. Now, if you're not already a group, you can still apply. If you've got, a group of friends or a group of colleagues, or it might be that you all live in the same street or go to the same church or the same mosque or something like that, or you all hang out together doing sport, we would like people to get together and say, actually, we're a happy little group of friends. We are happy to form a group, and we're happy to get going on the allotment site. So you don't need to be an established group. We will help you come together as a group. We've done the paperwork with lots of people before, so we can help you set that up. Don't be daunted if you're not an existing group. Come and see us anyway, and tell us about who you are and how you know each other and why you want to get growing as well.
Yeah. Lots of questions keep popping into my head as we're talking to you, Deborah. One of them that has just popped in my head is, do people have to show that there is a shortage of allotments in their area?
Well, we all know that there is a big shortage nationally. We would like people to tell us a little bit about their area. Yeah. If they know if there's existing allotment sites and they've got waiting lists, or if they know that there's a particular group of people who struggle to get allotments in their area. It might be that there's a patch in their neighbourhood that doesn't have gardens and all of the allotment sites are full, or it might be that all of the allotments are on one side of town and it's really hard to get there, if you've got a couple of kids and a pushchair and a dog to take with you. So tell us about what it's like where you live and what it's like for allotments and why there aren't enough sites for people. Just tell us your story. We'll love a good story.
Wow. It sounds brilliant. Honestly,
Julia, let's get these headphones off, disconnect, and let's get going. I was going to say run, but I can't do that anymore.
I can't run now.
But let's get cracking on that internet and see what's in there.
Yeah.
This is so exciting.
And if you are listening and there is a shortage in your local area of allotments, really, what an opportunity to get an allotment site and get something really fantastic for your local community. I'm just so excited now.
It's made my day, and the sun is shining, so who could ask for anything more?
I knew you were going to sing.
I know, I've got to get it in. Thanks ever so much, Deborah, and we're going to encourage everybody to get in touch with you, and let's see what actually happens. Keep in touch with us.
We will. Thank you for having us. It's been great.
Thanks
now.
Deborah.
Bye.
Bye. Happy gardening.
Contact the Potty Plotters anytime on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram @PottyPlotters, or email naughtycorner@pottyplotters.uk.
I thought that we'd talk to people about when to take things out the plot, and when they do, what to fill the gap with.
Oh.
Yeah, because I've seen it. I've seen it as I've walked up, even today. Yeah.
What kind of things are you talking about taking out? What, the plants?
I've taken my shallots.
Have you? Well, they're ready, aren't they? That's why you've taken them out.
Yeah, I've taken them out. I've taken the first layer of paper skin off so that they're all neat, tidy and lovely, ready to chop and pickle.
Okay.
But it's, what do you do after that? Well, I'll tell you what I've done. I'm not even asking you. I'll tell you what I've done.
Elaine, what have you done?
Yeah.
What have you filled the gap with where the shallots were?
Well, what I've done, Gareth, is I've dug it over, got any of the weeds out that were there, and
you didn't invite Julia around with the weed ones.
No,
just to save you the hassle.
I've done it myself, no, because there's a lot of plants in, because I only used them in half the bed and then another half a bed. So I've taken them all out, and then what I've done is yet again set more beetroot.
Oh.
Yes, I have. And
you said something else other than beetroot.
Not in my land, no. I love beetroot. I don't know if I've said that.
So all you wanted to do was talk about
stuff and the round stuff, the different colour stuff.
Yeah, well, different colour, different varieties and all that. So all I'm saying is, it is still early in the season, not early, but mid-season.
Yeah.
We certainly have got time to put more things in, like stubby carrots. I've thought about them as well.
You're going to put some stubby
carrots?
I thought, I could do.
Okay. And what else are you taking out of the plot then at this this time of year?
Well, what I've noticed is that there's some cosmos that came out very early, because mine was a lot earlier than yours, if you remember. No, don't frown at me, Julia. It was a lot earlier than yours, and some of that now has got to go. And so I thought I would. Go. Yes, it's got to go. So I thought what I'd do is chop that up and put that in the composter.
Okay. I've
got them in pots.
Are you not saving the heads of them? Are you not saving the seeds?
No.
Oh.
No, because I have got a very lot. So these are only in the big pots. Don't worry. Yeah. So I thought.
Don't worry. Next year's safe.
Yeah, it's okay, because I've already seen the catalogues. Now you've confessed to me before we went on this air.
Yes.
What you've been doing, haven't you?
Well, yes, I've been ordering seed catalogues online, and I was quite excited. Can I say the name of the place where I've had the seed catalogue from Seeds of Distinction?
Ooh, sounds posh.
Yes, it is posh. Yeah. And also Chiltern Seeds, because we're looking at the cut flower seeds in both of them, and both of them have got something a little bit different. So I thought, well, it's that time of year where you want to just sit for a moment and plan next year.
The thing is, though, Julie, does your husband ever listen to this? No, and mine doesn't.
Yeah.
So it's safe to say what we've actually done.
Oh, you've already ordered them.
Now Julia's ordered loads of bulbs. They're coming to my house.
Better make sure you're in then.
It's a good job my husband doesn't listen, doesn't it? Yeah.
Well, there you go.
I'll send them via Elaine's house so he doesn't find out. But if he listens to this
It was
podcast,
a present.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously it was, yeah. But I just thought I am going to get bits and pieces ready so that when the bulbs do arrive in the HGV, that we can do something with them.
I've been to yours. I've been to your house.
Yes.
How is an HGV going to get? I can't even get to your house most of the time in my tiny car. So how's an HGV going to get there to drop off 100 weight of bulbs?
100 weight? You are joking me. We haven't used that few. No, we've got quite a lot, Gareth. So I don't know.
What sort of bulbs have you bought?
Loads.
No. What sorts? Varieties.
Yeah. Loads.
Oh,
we?
Well, I've bought loads of ranunculus. Or ranunculi, I don't know.
Ranunculi.
However you say it. Because I grew them as an experiment this year, really liked them, but realised I should have set them earlier into pots, and I'm going to set them as an autumn sowing and keep them over winter so that the flowers themselves grow longer stems and bigger plants.
Which is the way forward.
Yeah, I'm getting ahead now. You've got me addicted to this cut flower thing on the plots, as well as growing the vegetables, which is quite good for saying topic 3, planning flowers for 2025 for weddings, Elaine.
I just thought I'd mention them, Julia.
Yes, having done the wedding last year and saying we'd never do another wedding again, we're now doing
Never say never again.
Because we've now gone even madder with the flowers.
Yeah.
And then we found out that one of the most delightful couples on our site are getting married, and that she wants to do her own flowers. But of course we know how stressful it all is getting married, and we've offered to help her with her flowers. And is there other weddings we're doing as well?
Yes, I've got my sister's son's, so it's a stepson actually. He's getting married as well in September. So I mean, the beautiful thing about this, and not a lot of people get it, is that we do this all for nothing. Now that's not an advert, don't write into us.
No.
But when you can do so many lovely things for people for nothing, it just gives you a bit of pride, doesn't it?
It warms your heart a little bit. It's no different to Deborah earlier on saying she wants to give an allotment away. We like to give our flowers away because we get to enjoy them on the plots. We get, we're surrounded by flowers as well as vegetables and fruit, and it's
that's no way to describe Kev and Steve.
But it's just lovely then to be able to share what we grow, and of course you get more and more the more you cut. So why not give them away? And it's not just weddings we give them away to. We also like to give them away to raise funds for different charities and sticking them in jam jars and things. So why not? But so planning flowers for 2025, what kind of flowers are we planning, Elaine?
Well, for 2025 we're looking at ranunculus, we're still looking at ami, we're looking at cosmos. I mean, everybody loves all the different cosmoses.
Cosmi.
Cosmos.
And of course we need no excuse to get a bigger variety of
dahlias. I mean, though dahlias don't look like... People envisage dahlias in the olden days, and they are so modern, they're so beautiful. So I just think that that's what we go for. Now, I'm not a gladioli person.
No.
Gladioli. It's gladioli.
I think that's the
It's the plural.
Plural.
Is it?
Yes, yeah.
Gladiolus.
I think it's gladioli.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is going to be food for thought, isn't it?
Yeah.
Looking up these words. But when you look at them as well, snapdragons,
Oh, yeah.
antirrhinums, all that kind of stuff, that's what we need to be doing, Julia. And that's why I started early, and actually you've beaten me to it. But I can't wait to see my husband's face when that big box arrives. That box is
I can
arrived.
guarantee that you'll be out when it arrives as well. Because it happens at our house, with not with plants or with seeds or anything, but with different things that she buys, that she's always out when it arrives. And I sit there going, oh, what have you been ordering this week then?
Well, what will be interesting is, if it arrives when you're not there, is the fact that normally when you're up to no good on this allotment site, you blame me when you tell your husband about it, and I have to take the blame. And he comes down site and he looks at me, gone out, thinking, she is really not right. But this time, actually, it's you, isn't it? It is. It's my stuff. It's genuinely my stuff that's coming to your house.
What you need is a PO box number.
Ooh, that's an idea, Gareth.
I mean, we have actually got a letterbox on our allotment
It won't
site.
fit the amount of plants you've ordered.
It won't fit
It'll
in.
barely get over the bridge, never mind in the letterbox, you moose. Oh, well, anyway, so if you are thinking about doing weddings, etc., this next year, my advice is get started now, because the planning of the stuff that you're going to grow takes long enough. So get it all and then work out in which bed you're going to put what. It's important, actually, isn't it?
It
'Cause
is,
otherwise you
yeah.
run out of room.
Yeah, and there are lots of things that, having watched different YouTube channels, that you can start in autumn for next year, so that you get bigger plants, you get stronger plants, you get
Who's
longer
shown you how
stems.
to do YouTube channels?
Husband.
Yeah, but I mean, I am going to give a shout out to a lady that I did watch quite a bit. There's something called cloudberry flowers that I think she's fantastic. I love watching her. She's just it's just very simple about the way she describes it. Conditions are up in Scotland, so not dissimilar to us here. In fact, she deals with even more challenging weather, so it's I've found it really useful just to watch what she does and when she plants things.
The Plotcast Podcast with the Potty Plotters.
I want to talk about my cultivated blackberries.
Oh, right, okay then.
Because they have been a bit of a hit this year, as has most soft fruit. I'm sure many of you listening to this, you know that we've experienced quite wet conditions, as most of the country has. In fact, we flooded quite a bit. But the thing that seems to have really benefited has been the soft fruit, and one of the soft fruits has been the blackberries. Cultivated blackberries, people don't seem to know. When we say cultivated blackberries, a lot of people say, well, what are they? Well, normal blackberries you think of as on a bramble, and of course
on the roadside.
Yeah, on the roadside, and you see people picking them, and can vary in size, but normally you get yourself scratched to bits when you're picking them, don't you, Elaine?
Yeah, scrawled.
Yeah. However, cultivated blackberries are slightly different in the fact that the stems that they grow on actually have got no thorns at all, and they don't run quite as rampantly as a normal bramble. The fruits that come off them are probably twice as big, and I think they're lovely and sweet. Some people say they're not quite as sweet as the brambles, but
I think definitely.
But we have had hundreds and hundreds of pounds worth of them this year, haven't we, Elaine?
We have, but the good thing is, Julia, because they haven't got any prickles or anything, thorns going up the stems, is that you've been able to wind them and bend them round frames, haven't you?
Yeah.
So actually they do look quite ornate.
Yeah.
And so anybody who's not got an allotment but has got a garden, that's the kind of thing you can do with them, isn't it?
And it's perfect. If you've got kids, you don't need to worry about them getting prickled.
Yeah.
So I just think they are a perfect thing to look at if you want to have a go at growing something very productive in your garden. And the flowers on them earlier in the season are quite pretty as well. So
now mine have actually gone to the floor. When they've gone to the floor, the end of the stem, it's very, very quick to throw out new roots.
Yeah.
So very, very simple to grow new cultivated blackberries from them.
Yeah.
And actually, Martin, thinking of which, Martin on plot 1, as you come in, he's got some Aris fencing, 2 pieces of them, and he's got them all over that Aris fencing.
Yeah.
And they are tremendous, aren't they, to watch?
And there's nothing complicated about them, because they are now throwing out new stems for next year, and they're the ones that will fruit next year. So all we do at the end of this year, when they're finished cropping, back end, when the plants die back, the ones that have had the fruit on, we literally cut them down to the ground and leave the new stems on, and the new stems are there for the fruit next year. So nothing complicated. Even we can do it, Elaine.
So, I mean, today I just need to point out we're not recording at Brands Hatch like it might sound.
Oh.
We are actually on an allotment plot.
We are.
Yeah, what's going on?
I don't know. Something up that, not motorway, E38, is it?
Yeah.
It's not very good, is it? But anyway.
It shows that it's fast moving.
Yeah.
It is very.
Top-notch advice, no Latin included. The Potty Plotters Podcast.
Topic 5, you've put children. Are we growing any?
We're not growing them, no.
What are we going to do with them
I
then?
thought we'd keep them entertained over the summer holidays.
We're not doing a pantomime, are we?
Oh, no, you're not. So, I mean, this is going out just after the bank holiday, so they've probably got, about a week and a half left?
Oh, they'll be very bored now, won't they? They'll be very tetchy. You want them outside?
They'll be very tetchy because they'll be going back to school soon, whether they want to or not.
No, I just think that I don't think we give kids enough credit really with their intelligence and initiatives, and I know that a lot of people moan about them being attached to phones, etc., but I think that given the opportunity, kids are very thoughtful and they do come up with some really good ideas.
Yeah.
One of the things I thought about was, have you got a plot number, Julia?
I have, because we did a plot sign competition, but that's a really nice thing to get your kids to do, is if you've not got your plot number displayed on your plot, most sites actually make it a condition of the tenancy agreement, but if you've not, there's so many creative ways you could get the kids to make a sign for your plot, isn't there?
Well, not just the sign, but I remember when we did do that plot number competition, that we stipulated that it also got to include the names of the plot holders or people who used the plot on there. And do you remember why we did that?
Yeah, because whilst a lot of people will recognise you by face, they won't remember your name. And once you've been introduced to someone once or twice by that name, and then you keep forgetting it, it becomes embarrassing to ask it, doesn't it, Elaine? And can you remember Eric and Jackie on site?
So Eric and Jackie, Gareth's looking at us, gone out, but it just reminded me. So Eric and Jackie across the way, they are on plot 5.
Eric and Jackie, plot 5.
Yeah.
We actually called them Pam and Derek.
For a whole year.
And they didn't correct you?
No. And we invited them to a little soiree on our plot.
You sent them an invite.
We did, to Pam and Derek, plot 5.
And it was only at that point that they pointed out that we'd been calling them by the wrong names. Unless they'd actually got doubles on site. We don't know. That could have been twins.
It was funny, though.
But yeah, it did really help because...
Did they look like a Pam and Derek rather than an Eric and Jackie?
No, I don't think so. It was just funny that it took them a year before they were brave enough to say it.
Well, I mean, to be fair, it'd probably take me a lot longer to grow the courage to go, Elaine, you've been calling me by the wrong name.
Are you Gavin?
Just don't go there, because people do that and Gary, and it really annoys me.
But yeah,
it's a lovely thing to do, though. You know? And that's why if you put your name on the plot, and people hopefully will get your name right and your plot number.
Yeah.
So have a look at your rules and see what you could do to get the kids, that's what I thought, get the kids involved properly with something productive on the allotment. That's what I was just thinking.
I really like that idea, Elaine.
Yeah, you are very arty and you did a lovely sign, didn't you?
Well, my sign was reminiscent of... I've got someone else's teeth in today. My sign is reminiscent of The Good Life that was on the television. Yeah, and it's just got my name in the middle rather than the cast name.
It's a bird,
yeah. So
around the daisy.
Yeah, that's the one. Ding, ding, ding,
but it was quite a nice competition on site, and there was no kind of rules, were there, in terms of what you used to make it. But it was a lot of people got involved. So rather than a scarecrow competition, which of course is great, and another great thing for the kids to get involved in, it was just something that was a little bit different.
It was different and it was permanent. That's what I liked. I remember somebody down that avenue, it was 40 something or other, and that was Andy and Kate Kate, and they did a beautiful little bird box.
Yeah.
Do you remember? And they put their details on this bird box and they attached that to their fence. And I just thought it was a practical way of getting kids involved. And the question is, why not? So what are we doing next time then?
Well, next time we're going to be talking about the horticultural shows, because we're out and about doing a fair bit of judging and giving out prizes.
Judging big onions again. Judging big plates of big onions.
Yes. And so one thing we've noticed over the last couple of years doing them is that there is probably less and less people entering them, and we want to encourage anybody to get involved and keep supporting them, because it is a dying thing that we are seeing in communities, and yet it is just a bit of fun.
It is, and September's the time generally when all the big ones go.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that then, shall we?
Okay.
Yeah. Have you ever entered into one of these shows? No.
What about with your big tomatoes?
No.
I mean, look at the size of that, Gareth. How big's that you've just picked, Julia?
It's the size of a small person's head.
Yeah, I would have said so. Yeah.
No.
Well, I have.
That'll keep a family of 4 going for a whole day.
Yeah, it would. So you've entered a competition before?
Oh, I've entered lots, yeah.
Have you won?
Yeah.
Of course, you wouldn't enter unless you were going to win.
No, we've got to be in with a winner, haven't you?
Yeah.
Anyway, I won't go on about it until next week.
But you've got lots of certificates everywhere.
I have, yeah. I used to pin them in my shed and I thought, that's a bit showy up, isn't it? Put them on the outside.
The Plotcast Podcast with the Potty Plotters is an Amberland Media production.